Everyone thinks their system is resilient. Revenue comes from multiple channels. Infrastructure is distributed. Teams have backups. Risk has been discussed. And yet, almost every collapse comes down to the same thing: one component that cannot fail. One dependency that cannot be replaced. One node the system cannot operate without. You usually know what it is. You just cannot afford to remove it. That is not a weakness. It is a design decision, and it is why the Song dynasty collapsed. In the 13th century, the Song dynasty controlled the most advanced economy on earth: paper currency, industrial iron production, hydraulic engineering, centuries ahead of its time. A population exceeding 100 million, the Song were not fragile. They were highly optimized. At the center of that optimization was a fortified city called Xiangyang. Xiangyang controlled the Han River, the primary supply route linking northern and southern China. Trade, food, military logistics, political authority. Everything flowed through it. The system worked because Xiangyang held, and because it had always held. The Song built everything around that assumption. When Mongol forces under Kublai Khan reached Xiangyang in 1267, they did not try to take it by assault. They surrounded it. They built permanent settlements around the city. They farmed nearby land. They cut river routes. They waited. The siege lasted 6 years. Inside the city, there was no immediate crisis. Food existed. Weapons existed. Defenses were strong. But the city required constant resupply to function at scale. And every supply run now had to pass through an entrenched Mongol perimeter. The Mongols understood something critical. They did not need Xiangyang to fall quickly. They needed the cost of resupply to rise. Each failed relief attempt weakened the Song more than the Mongols. Each reinforcement committed the dynasty further to a system that was already breaking. In 1272, Mongol engineers introduced counterweight trebuchets imported from Persia. They could destroy fortifications designed to withstand every previous siege weapon. Overnight, Xiangyang's defenses became obsolete. The city surrendered in 1273. Within a decade, the Song dynasty collapsed, not because the Mongols conquered China city by city, but because they removed the one node the system could not survive without. This is the mistake. The Song did not lose because Xiangyang fell. They lost because everything assumed it could not. Their economy depended on the river. Their military depended on centralized logistics. Their political authority depended on uninterrupted trade. Abandoning Xiangyang would not have been a tactical retreat. It would have meant dismantling the entire system at once. So they did not. They reinforced instead of restructuring. They defended instead of redesigning. They doubled down on stability because instability threatened legitimacy. By the time withdrawal became unavoidable, it was no longer viable. This is how single points of failure work. The dependency itself is not the flaw. The flaw is designing everything else to assume its permanence. Redundancy fails when backups rely on the same assumptions as the primary system. Multiple suppliers mean nothing if they depend on the same manufacturer. Multiple revenue streams mean nothing if they rely on the same platform. Multiple teams mean nothing if authority is still centralized at one decision point. Optimization removes stress from normal operation. That stress is what reveals fragility. Xiangyang looked stable because the system was designed to keep it that way. Modern systems fail the same way. A company depends on one cloud provider, one payment processor, one regulatory exception, one executive who cannot be replaced. Everyone knows it is a risk. No one can afford to address it, so it is monitored, discussed, deferred, until the moment it is tested. And when that component fails, the response is not adaptation, it is paralysis. Because adaptation would require dismantling the system while it is still running. Here is the rule. If a system cannot function without one component, the moment that component is threatened, the outcome is already constrained. The Song dynasty did not collapse from military weakness. It collapsed because its strength was concentrated in a structure that could not absorb loss. Failure was not sudden, it was delayed, and delay made it irreversible.